Oh, hello. Um, Hello. Are you ready? I'm just setting things up. Now, some of you may know that I have spoken about politicians at some great length, and I've considered their considerable considerations, and with consideration, I aim to further considerate considerable considerations. But I've been thinking about recent events, and I mean, eventually, as an eventuality, I shall eventually consider eventualizing eventual events. But for now, where we stand, and where we stand is a very good point to, excuse me, it's only water, I'm not a politician. Where we stand is obviously where we stand, and we have great standing with this stand, and I wish to continue standing where we stand. But basically, the point to this video, in case you were wondering what the point was, there's a very good question that we have shied away from asking, and that question is, of course, what is the question? And I don't actually know. It's difficult. Sometimes I think I know. Sometimes I'm pretty adamant. I have a great adamentation. But I don't actually know what the question is, and so that's a very important question. And it's one I fully believe in answering. We should, and I will answer it. It courses through our veins. It has been the making of every human since the dawn of the human race. Whatever you believe our origins, it's something ways niggling and philosophically damning that we are unable to answer this question. Now, we do know what the question is, of course. The question is, we do not know what the question is, so what is the question? But with reference to the question, what is the question? I don't know what the question is, and I hope I've made that clear. I'm unable to answer. I have some ideas, I always have hunches. I'm a bit of a private investigator. If you believe that, you'll believe anything. But I don't really know. I really don't know which road to travel down. And I suppose we could travel down all the roads, but we need some sort of inkling as to what it is we're looking for. I suppose it's a question we're looking for, essentially. I mean, presumably there's an answer of some sort, but has been a bit hasty jumping to conclusions. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. There is some data, very preliminary data, that does suggest that when one poses a question or feels a question is being asked in some way within their life or some sort, there's usually a response, with like cause and effect. There's an answer, or like, how are you? Someone answers, but we don't know how reliable this data is. It could just be pseudoscience. So yeah, I mean, what is the question? I suppose that's the question of our times. What is the question? I really do not know where to start. I should start the question. I suppose. That's the only logical place to start. The question is, what is the question? And that question is, what is the question? I suppose that's where we find ourselves right now. So it's 5:07 p.m. 29th of May 2020. He leans forward as though that actually helps his eyesight in any way at all, but actually it doesn't. Quite the opposite. But yeah, I mean, it's a question time basically. I suppose it's something we can all answer, each in our own ways, and find ourselves at a correct juncture which in the fullness of time will potentially give rise to a feeling of great sentiment, perhaps expressed as in a rather roundabout way, as a movement towards anticipating whether or not at some point whether state of decay is considered, and we are dwelling upon unfortunate and also fortunate circumstantial offerings which where pre-mounted reference points are considered, may actually deliver a what was the question again? I can't actually remember. What was the question? What was I talking about? Does anyone know? I would just go and spy on Mary Mavis. It's fine. You can see Mary Mavis out in the garden.